For homicide detectives, the clock starts ticking the moment they're called. All that blood came out of his mouth. He's definitely shot in the head. I am calling shots now, come down here. He was killed this evening. No way, yeah, keep your hands where I can see them. Their chance of solving a murder is cut in half. Damn, no witness if they don't get a lead. Briefing in a nutshell, we ain't got nothing. Within the first 48 hours, now we're definitely on the clock, now we're timing. I'll tell you what I am going to give you. I am going to give you 10 seconds to give me an answer. 8:00 p.m. A chilly December evening. What's the problem? What happened? I don't know, man. Just back there's a man down, he's bleeding. Is he conscious? Is he awake? I don't know if he's breathing. I don't know, man. Yeah, I've got it. I'll meet you, Eddie and Mary, at Southwest 4th Street in 10th Avenue. Sergeant Joe Shaley, a 20-year veteran, heads the team that will investigate the murder. They've got a white Latin male subject that looks like he's either been stabbed or shot. I've already notified the team. The team's, en route. Detective Morin, shall be there very fast. Let me see if I see anybody. There's not a soul outside. Mary Morin, a rookie homicide detective, is a key member of Shaley's team. Why do people shoot each other when it's cold? It's not fun when it's cold. Detective Eddie is already at the scene. Where are you guys at? Both calls were male shot. Okay, East Little Havana is a neighborhood detective Morin knows intimately. Okay, QSL. I got here from Cuba when I was 7 years old, went to school here, until high school, with a lot of the people now that I come in contact with every day. You grow up in a tough place, you become tough. Hey, sir, how are you? Are you happy? You're a happy man. I wanted to cry, man, my whole family was around this dinner table. Oh no, don't tell. And everybody just broke down, they were so sad. What do we got as far as a briefing here? Okay, briefing in a nutshell, we ain't got nothing. Beautiful, okay, good, all we have is a white Latin male, early 20s, okay, no identification whatsoever. Sergeant Shaley has worked over 100 homicides in his career. Being a homicide detective is the ultimate job in law enforcement. You just can't look at it as a mechanical type of job, just going through the motions, because you're in the wrong work. All that blood came out of his mouth, he's definitely shot in the head, went off the time that we received. What really strikes me is that he looks so thin, so helpless, like you can almost see him still in pain. Whoever the offender was, that actually did the shooting, was, in close proximity with the victim when the gunshot fired. So, this is very up close and personal, this is very unusual, getting in someone's face like this and doing that. Their first step is to ID the victim. This may have been gang-related, especially because the area is known for a lot of gang activity. There were gangbangers everywhere. The minute they heard the sirens, they all scattered, except for him. The gang unit's already been notified. They're out here. Hey, we appreciate you calling us out. Nobody ever calls us out. These cases are impossible without help, they're impossible. Absolutely. The City of Miami Gang Unit collects intelligence on gangs and their activities. They can confirm whether he's a gang member or not, and if he is a gang member, who he is affiliated with, and his name, his rap sheet, everything. This is WO territory. The WO gang is a very large and very violent gang organization. They're also in a little bit of a tiff with the guys from Latin Kane. If you guys could do any kind of, sweeps and just stop any gang members. That's what we're doing now. Excellent. And we could go to the brothers over there on 8th Avenue, up in the steps, they're going to know who he is. While the gang unit talks to their informants, Shaley and his team search for possible witnesses. Yeah, beautiful. Do you know what happened? No. No. You guys know anything that can help me out? Oh no. People are terrified. Everybody we talked to today, they're terrified. They don't want to come forward, they don't want to help us out. They're afraid of retaliation. That's a tremendous part of why we don't get the cooperation from witnesses. 3 hours into the investigation, the gang unit returns with a clue to the victim's identity. 1. I missed that. I was talking to him. Say that again. One of these gangbangers was telling us that they think this guy was arrested yesterday for a stolen car or something. The victim fits the description of a man named Fernando Trobiani, who was arrested the night before on the same block. We can get a picture of this guy. If I give you a name and ID, can you run this individual for me? It might be my victim. Left front pants. The medical examiner, the only person who can touch the victim's body, confirms their suspicion. Oh no way, he's got a tattoo of his last name on his back, and it's the same last name that, is on his arrest form from last night, right? Shaley and Morin have gotten their first break in the case. I can't believe we got an ID, Jess. 27-year-old Fernando Trobiani is classified in the system as Signal 400, Miami PD's code for a career criminal. The kid had a rap sheet I don't know how long, pages and pages. No matter what his background is, the fact that he has a criminal past makes no difference to me at all. It's my job to find the offender, and that's what I'll strive to do. We just have to notify the next of kin, and we'll do that tonight, hopefully. It's almost midnight, 4 hours since the call came in. The first 48 hours are just critical to us because any evidence that's presented to us is fresh. Once that window of opportunity closes, the chances become very difficult. Solving this case is just paramount. We work the case around the clock. Shaley and his team face a long night of investigation, hunting for clues to find out who killed Fernando Trobiani and why. Tonight, East Little Havana is not the only scene of a murder. Paramedics respond to a call from Coconut Grove, an affluent section of Miami. Rescue, hi, we need you for a possible crime scene. What happened there? We got it as a third-party call, a lady had fallen. Rescue got over there, and the lady's dead. Okay, good, but more than anything, get their names, people who live in the house. Sergeant Pepe Granado, who has been working homicide for 10 years, will lead the investigation. After a long night of processing, the CSI team uncovers several dozen prints. Papa, there's one right here. This is a nice print too, with all the detail and everything. Oh, this one is even better. If one of them matches a print in the police database, Granado and Ford may crack the case. 27-year-old Fernando Trobiani was shot to death in Little Havana. For Sergeant Joe Shaley and Detective Mary Morin, it's a difficult case to solve with no physical evidence and no motive. The morning after the murder, Detective Morin tracks down the victim's mother. Okay, I'll go out there. Detective Morin joined the force when she was 38 and spent more than 3 years on patrol and robbery detail before moving to homicide. When you're a homicide detective, you kind of need a lot of reminders. You're very busy, so I keep post-it notes everywhere, obviously on my speedometer. That's important. Trobiani's mother said her son's life of crime began at an early age. His biological father, when he was a child, would take him with him to do drug ripoffs, so that's lovely. And, she wasn't aware of that. She wasn't aware that he was exposing him to even the use of drugs. And so, when Fernando misbehaved, she would send him over to his father as punishment, like, you're going to go with your father. Of course, it was just making him even more of a delinquent. Oh my God, he must. Of course, I still can't believe it. Of course, this child never had a chance from day one. That's the way I look at it. We are responsible for being the voice of the victim. That is extremely personal. That's the way you have to look at it. It is a very personal job. Sergeant Joe Shaley knows that to solve this case, he must find witnesses. The individuals we think are involved, the people associated with, or gang members. We need to talk to them. Shaley is sure that somewhere in the neighborhood where the murder went down, there are people who know what happened. This is a relatively small area with a lot of apartments. There were a lot of people out that night. None of these people have come forward because they don't want to. They don't want to be involved, they're scared. So, we got to do this the hard way. Need to talk to you. My name is Sergeant Shaley, my police. The man in green matches the description of someone seen hanging around at the time of the shooting. I am not no dirty hairy type. Hey big guy. Hey man. Listen to me, man. He didn't even try to engage, he just blatantly said, screw you, I am not talking to you. Shaley also suspects the man may be armed. 3130, I need some assistance, K. Reference a subject walking away from me, possible either witness or offender. I need them stopped as soon as possible. Southwest 1, check in several subs over here, 73. All U-15 was 3138 Southwest 10th Avenue and 4th Street. Frustrating description. 3130, reference my 31. Possible offender is walking away from me and now just has disappeared. I need a unit. I don't need a code 3, but I need some help. 7402, get somebody over there now. See, he's gotten rid of whatever he had. Come on, downstairs, gee. Where's your partner? Listen, I am calling shots now. Come down here, down now. Take it right now, I am not playing games with you. Come down here. Listen, cause I am not playing with you. That's why you're in the backseat of my car. The man will be taken to homicide for questioning. I try to be as low-key as I can, but low-key doesn't. It don't pay, man, it just don't. A block away, Shaylee spots another potential witness. Are you what's up, how you doing? The man is carrying a weapon. I can take you to jail for this tonight, it's your choice. You tell me go to the station voluntarily with me or go to jail over here. I tell you what, I am going to give you 10 seconds to give me an answer, because you know what, one way or another, I am going to arrest you, take you to the station. So I am going to give you the opportunity to go down there voluntarily. Okay, thanks, and we're cool. After 3 hours working the streets, Shaylee finds 5 possible witnesses. All these players are the players that we needed to question in regard to this. And keep in mind, in any other case, all these people would have been at the station probably the first night, cause all these people would have come forward. Shaylee now has to get them to reveal what they know. It's now the afternoon following the murder of Juana Lopez. Alright, I am telling you, that's what I heard. Juana's son, Jose, and other family members are still trying to come to terms with her murder. I really don't know why. I want to find out who the hell did this, what happened. Of course, I am angry, but I don't know who it is. Who am I going to be angry with? Life? Who am I going to be angry with? Tell me. Ain't nobody there to say, hey, you did it. There's no sign of a struggle, no sign of her trying to flee. If she had seen an assailant come in with a gun, she may have tried to reach for something, but it seems like she was just going about her business and he was waiting for an opportunity. Back at the crime scene, Sergeant Pepe Granado and Detective Irvin Ford are still hoping for news about Juana's missing SUV. Yes, sir. They find the car. The killer has parked it just 4 miles from the murder scene. Close off that street down there. We have what appears to be a money pouch from a bank. We have a purse in the back. That's going to be very important. The inside, it's going to be crucial to the investigation. He went through the trouble of locking it. He was going to come back for it when things quieted down, drive it around or something, try to sell it for some dope. Yeah, looks like it's getting ready to come down pretty good. Okay, here's the big question. We have the car, it's starting to rain. We want to put plastic over it. If we do that, will that, damage prints or luminol or anything we're going to do to the car later? I wouldn't put a tarp on it. You can not only wipe away any fingerprints, but possibly cross-contaminate, the vehicle with anything that might have been on the tarp previously. Alright, Granado and Ford know that if they can find a single print from the SUV, they will solve the case. Bring them over here. Sergeant Joe Shaylee and his team have tracked down 5 potential witnesses in the murder of Fernando Trobiani. This is good, this is real good for us now. Shaylee and Detective Mary Morin have to get them to talk. What's your first name? What's your last name? Why did they shoot this guy? Were you there? Was it you? Do you know if the gunshot was coming from the same area where that car fled? Who was this guy, this bum? There's nothing more frustrating than when we don't get cooperation from witnesses. You're going to make this very difficult on me. I can't even get past your first goddamn name. Did you hear the shooting? Did you hear the shot? No. You gotta do all kinds of things, play it all kinds of ways. Be nice, be strict, be mean, be good cop, bad cop, whatever it takes. We become actors, really. We was kissing your ass, and I am going to get it one way or another. You want me out of your face? I am going to let him here with you. She's a great actress, man, she's awesome. Okay, I don't know. After 4 hours of questioning, a street name finally emerges. This guy, Mike, they call him Little Mike. Little Mike has a brother. What's Little Mike's brother's name? They call him Gringo. Okay, Gringo, Little Mike beautiful. Now, they're getting somewhere. The word on the street is that 2 brothers, nicknamed Little Mike and Gringo, gunned down Trobiani. Those boys came over and killed him because he ripped them off of cracked cocaine. That's what everybody on that block is talking about. Little Mike and his brother are the ones that Shaylee and Morin need to track down. I gotta wake up God. I will wake up God to make this happen. Patience for this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Shaylee and Morin turned to the patrol officers in East Little Havana to help identify Little Mike and Gringo. This is a victim. Okay, shot in the neck. Didn't make it. I mean, dead on the spot. We got people we want to talk to. The minute I say the nickname, and these guys immediately the veteran officers of the area immediately are giving me names. Mike Gonzalez, Carlos Reyes, Ria brothers. Oh, Ria brothers, beautiful, need that information. Remember those good-looking blonde boys that look like gringos? You know one of the Ria brothers, Carlos. I met him when he was 13, 14 years old. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite kid, in East Little Havana. So I was actually very, very surprised and hurt that he had any kind of involvement in this. And I am going to go back to 104, to the incident location, and hit the other apartment buildings. The hunt is on for the Ria brothers. Sergeant Joe Shaley and his team were hunting for the two suspects in Fernando Trobiana's murder. 44 hours into the investigation, their search ends. We've got a possible offenderone of the Ria brothers detained. 18-year-old Carlos Ria was picked up by a uniformed officer on the lookout. Detective Morin knows him from when she was on patrol in the street, and he agreed to come voluntarily to the station and talk to us. That's beautiful, that's a good start. From the very get-go, he knew what was up. I said, "This is serious, Carlos," and he said, "Yeah, I know. Happens, what are you supposed to do? Leave your brother?" No, I wouldn't leave my sister. With Carlos, I didn't have to use good cop, bad cop. It was just me, no acting there. I told him, "There's always a spot for you in my heart, but this is my job, and I need your help on this." Carlos Ria denies any role in the murder. Exactly, so if you didn't do it and you had nothing to do with it, tell me why you were there, why you were identified there. He says people in that neighborhood are fingering him simply because they don't like him. The people that we've been talking to, that have identified you, have only identified you as the driver. They've never identified you as a murderer, and that's very, very important for you. Carlos gave me every excuse under the sun about what happened. He gave me stories but never once implicated his brother. I said, "Give me an out. Tell me you know who knows. You grew up in a tough environment. Maybe he did something to your brother. Maybe you guys were just there trying to scare him. Who knows, tell me something. Maybe you reacted." To solve the case, Morin must get Carlos to talk. It's now over 36 hours since the body of Juana Lopez was discovered in her house in Coconut Grove. Sergeant Pepe Granado and Detective Irvin Ford have recovered Juana's missing SUV. So far, it's the best lead they have in identifying the killer. Now we're definitely on the clock. Now we're ticking. We have very little to go on. If we can get anything faster, because if this goes any further, it's just going to give whoever the individual is more time and more distance from where we're at right now. I am just preparing a superglue formula here. This is going to be heated up on a hot plate inside the vehicle. It should start to fume up. The superglue vapor will bond with the amino acids in fingerprints, making them more visible. You see it? Yeah, it's turning white. If you're going to drive a strange vehicle for the first time, what you're going to do is adjust the mirror and then the seat belt, the seat release lever, up and down, forward and back. 4 hours of processing yield 28 prints from inside and 1 from outside. They're up there waiting for these prints. It takes time, I know you're waiting. It will take the latent print specialists hours to examine all 29 prints from the car and the additional 69 found at the victim's house. Take a look at this car with just one piece of tape. You got 1, 2, and 3 latents. They're all different. Actually, the latents in this case are not very good. Out of 98 total prints, only 18 are good enough to identify their owners. The 18 prints are then meticulously compared to the so-called elimination prints that belong to the people who lived at the house. This print right here happens to be the left index finger of Jose. All the points that I present here on the latent, must also be present on the standard. With the end of the first 48 hours fast approaching, all the homicide team can do is wait. Granado's team is hoping forensics will help them solve Juana Lopez murder. From the 98 prints recovered from the victim's house and car, CSI expert Gil Martin finds 2 prints that do not match anyone living in the house. There's a couple of prints in there that do not belong to anybody, so I am going to try and see if I can enter it into AFIS now and see if we get a match. The 2 prints are entered into AFIS, the Automatic Fingerprint Identification System, a nationwide database containing prints of anyone with an arrest record. AFIS comes back without a hit. This doesn't help us much at all. Granado and Ford have lost their best chance to find the killer. I just cannot. This guy's like a phantom. Has he touched nothing in there? Just means we gotta find different means of solving this. The first 48 hours have run out. Granado's team has been able to rule out the victim's boyfriend and her son as suspects. They have also established robbery as the probable motive, but they are still no closer to figuring out who killed Juana Lopez. With each passing day, their chance of solving the case grows slimmer, but Granado and Ford are not ready to give up. You are the one that has to bring closure to the family. If anybody comes around trying to get rid of a large amount of jewelry, give me a call. I've been in homicide over 10 years, and I have cases that I am still working on. I am pretty confident at some point, something is going to be revealed. Time is also running out for Sergeant Joe Shaley and Detective Mary Morin in their investigation of Fernando Trobiani's murder. Carlos Ria is still denying any involvement. Look at that. That is bad. This is the diet of a madman. The diet of a homicide detective. Here you go, pal. 3 hours into the interview, Carlos asks to see his grandmother, who raised him. You want to make it as comfortable as you can for them, because it's easier to come forth with the information knowing that they have support. These guys, deep inside, they're not that tough. Carlos, a kid just turning 18, and I gave him what he needed, which at that point was grandma. And I do think it was a turning point. After nearly 4 hours of questioning, Carlos finally admits that he and his brother, Miguel, were driving around East Little Havana when they spotted Trobiani. He asked me, "Is that the guy that robbed you?" And I told him, "That's the guy that robbed me." Carlos claims his brother was simply planning to confront Trobiani and was shocked when a gun went off. You ask him what happened, and he says, "I think he's dead. I don't know what to do." And then what did you guys do? It took a while. It was hard for him. We're dealing with something that happened with his brother that was difficult. Did you guys discuss it? Did you guys tell anybody else? Number? Call mom, call grandma, nobody. What the hell, we don't know what the hell we're doing. By the end of the first 48 hours, Shaley and Morin have succeeded in identifying their potential shooter, 22-year-old Miguel Ria Gonzalez. Miguel's grandmother soon persuades him to come to homicide. We won't know exactly what we have until we get him up here and we talk to him. What you're telling me is that you were not with your brother at 10th and 4th, and you did not have a confrontation with this man. Is that what you're telling me? And remember, you just swore to tell me the truth. I don't know. Miguel says he is innocent, claiming he was at his girlfriend's at the time. You have been identified. This is not a question. Were you there? Did you do it? No. There were many people there. Now, what we do is we call the state attorney's office and we tell them the story that we've got. Finally, after several hours of questioning, Miguel changes his story. Miguel tells me he really went out there to just confront my victim. Fernando was the one that had the gun on him. He starts fighting. All of a sudden, the guy takes out the gun. Poof, the gun goes off. The guy shot himself. Yeah, the guy shot himself. Man, I went crazy. I started running. Miguel's admission that he was there when Trobiani was shot is all that Shaley needs to close the case. That's it. That's the vest. That's it. He pulled out a gun, and that's it. That's the self-serving statement. I believe that Miguel went out there with the gun. If not, the gun would still be on my scene, and the gun wasn't there. How do you go from petty theft to being a homicide offender? And it's just the streets. It just makes sometimes even good people, go bad. This job has changed me dramatically in ways that I never dreamt of. I have a newfound respect and passion for life. You have to capture every breathing moment of life because it can be gone like that.